If you are between the ages of 55 and 75, here are 5 types of neighbors you should avoid and keep your distance from, especially the 5th type. Reaching the age of 55 or beyond often brings new perspectives on peace, personal space, and the value of healthy relationships. By this stage, many of us have learned that our surroundings, especially our relationships with neighbors, can significantly impact our quality of life. Having the right people around us brings comfort, security, and a sense of belonging. But unfortunately, not every neighbor is a positive addition to our daily lives. Here are 5 types of neighbors that can disrupt peace and happiness and some practical tips for handling them. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. 1. The rude, insensitive, and selfish neighbor. In any community, the goal of a harmonious neighborhood can be disrupted by the presence of a neighbor who lacks consideration for others, a person whose behavior reflects a deep-seated disregard for the well-being and comfort of those around them. This type of neighbor might consistently act rudely or thoughtlessly, showing little respect for boundaries, social etiquette, or the unwritten rules that foster mutual respect. These individuals may let their pets roam unchecked, leave their garbage overflowing, or even disregard simple courtesies like saying hello or keeping noise levels down. At this stage in life, when peace and comfort are often at the top of our priorities, interactions with rude or selfish individuals can feel particularly jarring. It's disheartening to feel like a stranger in your own community due to the insensitive actions of others, especially when you seek to cultivate an atmosphere of goodwill and understanding. The deeper impact of rudeness on well-being. Rudeness and inconsideration go beyond mere annoyance. They can affect one's mental and emotional health. Numerous studies suggest that regular exposure to disrespectful or selfish behavior can increase stress levels, lead to heightened anxiety, and disrupt overall life satisfaction. The stress of navigating around inconsiderate behavior or worrying about further disruptions can take away from the restful environment you've worked hard to establish in your own home. For many, the sanctuary of home is precious, and selfish or rude behavior from a neighbor can threaten that sanctuary. Finding balance between kindness and self-protection. Engaging with rude or insensitive neighbors can be challenging, but it's important to approach the situation with a balance of empathy and assertiveness. A polite but firm approach may sometimes be enough to convey that their behavior is affecting others. For instance, you might calmly mention how loud noises or blocked driveways impact your daily routine, making it clear that respect is not only expected, but necessary in a shared community. However, there are times when patience and polite requests may not be enough. If their behavior continues despite your efforts, consider ways to distance yourself from their negative impact. Some people find that limiting interactions rather than trying to change a person's ingrained behavior preserves their peace and allows them to focus on positive connections within the neighborhood. Building a support network and seeking allies. If a rude or selfish neighbor is disrupting your peace, try connecting with other neighbors who share your values. Having a support network not only gives you the strength to handle difficult situations, but also reassures you that your values of respect and kindness are shared by others. Together, you may have more influence when addressing common concerns through homeowners associations, community meetings, or neighborhood councils. Having allies in your neighborhood can amplify your voice, reinforcing that respect and consideration are core to a healthy community. The philosophy of choosing peace over engagement. When dealing with difficult neighbors, remember that you have the right to choose peace over constant engagement. Protecting your mental and emotional well-being is not an act of isolation or animosity. It's a conscious decision to prioritize your happiness. While it's natural to hope for harmonious relationships, some situations call for a degree of separation to maintain a sense of control over your environment. Practicing mindfulness, focusing on positive interactions, and distancing yourself from disruptive influences are all ways to keep your home a true sanctuary. Not every neighbor will share your values, and that's okay. By setting boundaries with those who disrupt your peace, and by fostering relationships with those who uplift it, you can cultivate an environment of comfort and respect, a place where you feel truly at home. 2. The all night party neighbor, a persistent disruption to peace and well being. There's nothing quite like the comfort of a quiet evening at home, especially after a long day when the peace of your surroundings becomes a welcome escape. However, this sense of sanctuary can be deeply disrupted by a neighbor who regularly hosts late night gatherings, disregarding the shared need for rest and quiet. The all night party neighbor, with their endless music, laughter, and frequent visitors, can quickly turn the neighborhood's sense of calm into a source of relentless tension and exhaustion. As we age, the value of restful nights and the importance of consistent sleep cannot be overstated. While this might seem like a simple desire, restful sleep becomes increasingly essential for physical health, mental clarity, and emotional resilience. The repeated disruption of late night noise can erode this quality of life, leaving lasting impacts on energy levels, mood, and overall well being. Instead of waking up feeling refreshed, you may find yourself drained as the anxiety of wondering when the next party will occur looms in the background. Why sleep matters more as we age. Research continually points to the importance of sleep, especially as we grow older. Sleep supports immune health, cognitive function, and mood stability, all crucial elements for maintaining a healthy, active lifestyle. However, this biological need can be undermined by repeated exposure to nighttime noise, which not only makes sleep harder to achieve, but can also trigger stress responses. The body reacts to disturbances like loud sounds by raising cortisol levels, the stress hormone, which disrupts the natural sleep cycle. Over time, this exposure can lead to irritability, anxiety, and even health conditions tied to prolonged stress. Navigating this challenge with care and assertiveness. Approaching an all night party neighbor requires a delicate balance of tact and resolve. Starting with an honest, respectful conversation can sometimes yield positive results. Explain how their gatherings impact your rest, emphasizing the importance of mutual respect in shared spaces. You might be surprised. Sometimes people genuinely aren't aware of how much their actions affect others and will respond positively to a kind, direct request. However, if their behavior persists despite your polite efforts, additional steps may be necessary. Document the disturbances, including times and dates, to support your case if you need to involve a neighborhood association, landlord, or even local authorities. Many communities have noise ordinances that prioritize the right to a peaceful living environment, especially during nighttime hours. These rules are in place precisely to prevent situations where one person's lifestyle negatively impacts another's quality of life. Considering practical steps to reclaim your peace. If direct conversations and community regulations don't bring the relief you need, there are practical ways to help reclaim your peace within your own space. Soundproofing measures such as adding thicker curtains, carpets, or even a white noise machine can reduce the intensity of external sounds, creating a buffer between you and the noise. Investing in these small measures can help restore a sense of calm to your evenings, allowing you to protect your well-being even if the external noise cannot be completely eliminated. Embracing the power of boundaries for personal peace. Living near an all-night party neighbor can be a test of patience and boundaries. Remember that you have the right to peace, quiet, and respect in your own home. While no one can control the behavior of others entirely, you can decide how much you will allow that behavior to impact your life. Setting boundaries with such neighbors may mean opting out of forced social interactions, prioritizing your own space, and creating a lifestyle that supports your sense of calm. Sometimes these situations call for choosing your peace over pleasing others. Letting go of the idea that everyone in your neighborhood will share your values can be liberating. Instead, focus on cultivating inner tranquility and take pride in the efforts you make to maintain a positive, peaceful home environment. In conclusion, while all night party neighbors can seem unavoidable, maintaining your well being means protecting your environment and setting boundaries that reinforce your right to a peaceful living space. Choosing to address these issues in a way that respects both yourself and your neighbors allows you to keep your home a true refuge, a place of rest, comfort, and serenity. 3. The envious neighbor who turns hostile, navigating the hidden threat of resentment. One of the more challenging neighbors to encounter is the one who harbors envy, turning what could have been a friendly relationship into a source of tension and hostility. The envious neighbor may initially appear amiable, but as time passes, subtle signs of resentment emerge. This envy can be directed at the things that represent your achievements or lifestyle. Perhaps it's your well maintained garden, recent renovations, or even your close friendships with other neighbors. What begins as polite curiosity or admiration often morphs into passive aggressive remarks, gossip, or an uncomfortable distance. As we age, many of us naturally gravitate toward relationships that bring support, warmth, and understanding. The envious neighbor, however, can become a constant source of stress and disappointment, as their resentment not only sours interactions, but can also create feelings of unease in your own neighborhood. This type of neighbor may attempt to undermine your confidence subtly, or even spread unkind rumors, slowly chipping away at the peace of mind you've worked hard to cultivate. The psychology of envy and its impact on community harmony. Envy is a powerful emotion, often arising from unaddressed insecurities or personal dissatisfaction. When someone feels they are lacking in their own life, they may focus on others who appear more fulfilled, projecting their own frustrations outward. This behavior can be particularly unsettling because it's often covert, manifesting as backhanded compliments, competitive remarks, or exclusionary tactics. While it might be tempting to brush off these behaviors, the tension they create can erode a sense of security and belonging in your community. For many older adults, having a stable and supportive environment is especially important for emotional well-being. Repeatedly encountering subtle hostility or feeling targeted by a neighbor's envy can lead to feelings of isolation or defensiveness, diminishing the enjoyment and comfort of living in your own home. Protecting your peace without fueling the envy or handling an envious neighbor requires a careful approach that neither stirs up more resentment nor compromises your own happiness. It can be helpful to avoid discussions or displays that may exacerbate their feelings of envy. For instance, try to steer conversations away from personal successes, new purchases, or close relationships with other neighbors, and instead focus on neutral topics. This approach doesn't mean downplaying your joy, it simply prioritizes peace over potential conflict. Maintaining a polite but reserved demeanor is another valuable strategy. Instead of being overly involved or sharing too many personal details, keep interactions friendly but limited. This approach creates a natural boundary, discouraging them from finding personal information to critique or use as fuel for their resentment. Fostering connections with positive neighbors. A key aspect of protecting yourself from an envious neighbor is to surround yourself with neighbors who celebrate each other's accomplishments and support each other's well-being. By building friendships with neighbors who foster positivity, you can create a buffer of encouragement and genuine connection, helping to counterbalance any negativity from an envious individual. When you focus on nurturing these uplifting relationships, it becomes easier to overlook the occasional hostility from those who may not have your best interests at heart. Embracing detachment and self respect. It's essential to remember that their envy is a reflection of their own struggles, not of your worth or actions. Practicing a form of compassionate detachment can help maintain your self respect and confidence. Recognizing that their perception is not something you can control or should feel responsible for. Accepting that you don't need to be liked by everyone and that some people's feelings are beyond your influence can be a liberating realization. In a world where we may seek camaraderie and understanding, it's hard to accept that not all neighbors will become friends. Yet, by setting clear, gentle boundaries and focusing on those who bring joy and positivity, you can continue to live peacefully without feeling burdened by another's envy. In summary, while an envious neighbor can create an undercurrent of tension in your community, maintaining firm boundaries, prioritizing supportive connections, and embracing a respectful detachment can protect your peace. In choosing to live authentically and with self respect, you reinforce your right to a harmonious environment, regardless of the envy that may exist around you. 4. The borrower who never repays and speaks poorly of you, guarding against emotional and financial exploitation. In any community, generosity and neighborly support are values that bind us. Most people take pride in helping out when needed, whether lending an item, offering a hand, or even providing financial support in times of genuine crisis. However, some neighbors seem to take advantage of this kindness, borrowing with little to no intention of repaying, and worse, speaking poorly of those who finally choose to set boundaries. This kind of neighbor can erode trust, not just between you and them, but also within the larger community, casting shadows of doubt on the warmth that should characterize close knit neighborhoods. For older adults who may value peace and supportive relationships, this type of neighbor is particularly draining. The borrower who doesn't repay may seem friendly at first, creating the illusion of reciprocity and neighborly camaraderie. Yet, over time, their consistent borrowing without repayment, combined with a lack of gratitude or acknowledgement, can lead to feelings of betrayal and frustration. What's more, if they speak poorly of you for declining further assistance, the situation can become socially isolating, leaving you feeling misunderstood and unfairly judged by others. The hidden costs of a borrower's entitlement. At the heart of this issue is a fundamental lack of respect for the concept of fair exchange. When a neighbor borrows money, tools, or even your time and effort without reciprocating, it's not just about the material cost. It's about the emotional toll of feeling taken for granted. The resentment that can build from repeatedly giving without receiving respect or consideration in return can lead to stress, mistrust, and a diminished sense of belonging in your own community. Such an imbalance disrupts the spirit of mutual respect, creating a relationship dynamic where one person's needs and expectations overshadow another's boundaries and well being. As we grow older, maintaining a sense of financial and emotional security becomes increasingly important. Protecting these resources allows us to enjoy the fruits of a lifetime of hard work without feeling compromised by others' demands or misperceptions. Setting boundaries with kindness and clarity. When dealing with a borrower who has shown little intention of repaying, it's important to establish firm but kind boundaries. The next time they ask for a favor or a loan, consider responding with a gentle but honest reply. For instance, you might say, "I've been happy to help in the past, but I need to ensure my resources are managed carefully." This response sets a boundary without hostility and signals that further borrowing may not be possible. If you feel inclined to continue lending, setting clear expectations upfront is essential. Let them know that you expect items to be returned by a specific date, or, if lending money, that repayment terms need to be mutually agreed upon. By framing your expectations clearly, you protect yourself from the resentment that can arise when boundaries are crossed, while still showing a willingness to support them in a way that is fair to both parties. Protecting your reputation and peace of mind. One of the most distressing aspects of this type of neighbor is their tendency to speak poorly of you when you finally establish boundaries. They may attempt to tarnish your reputation within the community, portraying you as ungenerous or selfish for not continually meeting their demands. This can be particularly painful as it can feel like a betrayal of the kindness you extended in the first place. If this occurs, remember that your reputation is ultimately built on your actions and integrity. Most people will recognize the difference between a genuine act of kindness and a one-sided expectation for favors. By calmly standing your ground and maintaining positive relationships with other neighbors, you can let your genuine character speak for itself. When faced with this type of gossip, resist the urge to engage in counter gossip. Instead, stay consistent in your respectful treatment of others and let time reveal the truth of the situation. Embracing the philosophy of balanced generosity. It's important to remember that generosity should never come at the expense of your well-being or security. True kindness and support are best given when there is a sense of balance and mutual respect. Offering help to neighbors can be deeply fulfilling, but it's essential to recognize when assistance is becoming a form of exploitation rather than genuine reciprocity. Establishing boundaries allows you to continue being a generous person while ensuring that your kindness isn't taken for granted. In some cases, saying no is an act of self-respect and an affirmation that your time, energy, and resources are valuable. By protecting your boundaries, you preserve your capacity to help others without feeling drained or resentful. Choosing the right connections for a fulfilling life. In your later years, the quality of your relationships becomes more important than the quantity. Surrounding yourself with people who respect your time, contributions, and boundaries leads to healthier, more meaningful connections. Maintaining distance from neighbors who misuse your kindness doesn't make you selfish. Rather, it enables you to invest in relationships that bring positivity, respect, and genuine warmth to your life. In conclusion, dealing with a borrower who never repays requires a blend of kindness, clarity, and self-respect. By setting boundaries, protecting your resources, and focusing on positive relationships, you reinforce a commitment to peace and integrity in your community. Through balance, generosity, and thoughtful boundaries, you ensure that your kindness remains a gift rather than an obligation, allowing you to enjoy a life of mutual respect and meaningful connections. 5. The neighbor who invades your privacy with unwelcome attention toward your loved ones, preserving dignity and safety in your sanctuary. One of the most unsettling experiences in any community is encountering a neighbor who crosses personal boundaries with unwelcome interest in your loved ones. This type of behavior goes beyond mere friendliness, becoming invasive and uncomfortable. It may manifest in frequent lingering glances, overly familiar conversations, or unwanted attempts to get close to your spouse or other family members. For those who cherish the privacy, comfort, and dignity of their home, such behavior can feel like an intrusion on the very foundation of one's peace and security. At an age when many people seek stability and the quiet joy of family life, facing a neighbor who shows undue interest in your spouse or family members can feel like a violation of your safe space. Our homes should be places of relaxation and trust, and having a neighbor who disrupts that harmony with inappropriate behavior is not just a minor annoyance. It's a fundamental breach of respect that can affect your entire sense of well-being. The deep discomfort of invasive attention. This type of neighbor doesn't simply pose a nuisance. They stir up a feeling of vulnerability in a space meant to be protected and private. When a neighbor's actions, such as lingering near your home, making suggestive comments, or persistently trying to engage with your family members, go beyond friendly interaction, it can create an atmosphere of discomfort and even fear. This behavior can weigh heavily on your mind, especially if you're unsure how to address it without escalating the situation or creating conflict in the neighborhood. For older adults who may value security and consistency more than ever, these intrusions can feel even more unsettling. The emotional toll of feeling that your home is no longer fully private or safe should never be underestimated. When our homes no longer feel like sanctuaries, it impacts everything from our peace of mind to the quality of time spent with loved ones. Establishing boundaries with calm, firm communication. Addressing this type of behavior requires sensitivity and strength. If you feel safe doing so, consider addressing the issue directly. A calm but firm conversation may be all that's needed to signal to your neighbor that their attention is unwelcome. For instance, you might say something like, "We value our privacy and we appreciate it if you could respect that." By stating this firmly and clearly, you're setting a boundary without hostility, reinforcing that privacy is non negotiable. However, in situations where you don't feel comfortable addressing the neighbor directly, indirect actions such as limiting their access to certain parts of your home's exterior, using fencing or landscaping for added privacy, can be effective. You might also choose to minimize interactions by limiting time spent in shared spaces if they are present, effectively reducing the likelihood of further unwanted attention. Seeking support from community resources. If the behavior continues despite your efforts to establish boundaries, don't hesitate to seek support from community resources. Homeowners associations, neighborhood councils, or even local law enforcement can provide guidance and, if necessary, intervene to ensure your sense of safety is respected. Many communities have codes of conduct that protect residents' rights to privacy and respectful treatment, especially in cases where a resident's behavior is seen as intrusive or inappropriate. Document any behavior that feels invasive or unwelcome. Keeping a record not only reinforces your sense of control over the situation, but also provides essential information should you need to escalate the matter. Remember, preserving the dignity and safety of your home environment is not just your right, it's essential for your well-being. Nurturing an inner sense of peace and control. One of the hardest parts of dealing with an intrusive neighbor is the emotional toll it can take. It's easy to feel as though your home has been invaded, and with it, your sense of control and peace. In such situations, it's important to nurture your own sense of security, reminding yourself that your boundaries are valid and your right to privacy is absolute. Practices like mindfulness or focusing on the positive aspects of your environment can help to restore a sense of balance. Additionally, spending time with friends or other neighbors who respect and appreciate your family can help rebuild trust in your community, reminding you that respectful connections do exist close to home. Choosing to prioritize dignity, safety, and personal space. Ultimately, the well-being of your household should always come first. Not every neighbor will share the same understanding of personal boundaries, and sometimes distance is the most respectful choice. It's okay to put space between yourself and a neighbor who makes you uncomfortable, even if this means limiting your social interactions within the community. In later years, the desire for a calm, respectful environment only grows stronger, and prioritizing that desire is not selfish. It's essential. Remember that by choosing to protect your family's privacy and dignity, you are safeguarding the sense of sanctuary your home should provide. In conclusion, a neighbor who crosses the line of appropriate behavior and invades your privacy can be a unique challenge. Through firm boundaries, respectful communication, and a commitment to your family's safety and comfort, you can reinforce the integrity of your living space. Protecting the sanctuary of home is a powerful affirmation of your right to peace, security, and mutual respect, enabling you to enjoy life in a community that values these principles. Conclusion: protecting your peace and prioritizing positive connections. Navigating relationships with neighbors can be a delicate balance, especially as we grow older and place a higher value on peace, respect, and security. Not every neighbor will bring positivity into our lives, and some may even disrupt the harmony we've worked hard to cultivate. Recognizing the types of neighbors who undermine your well-being allows you to establish healthy boundaries, guard your sanctuary, and maintain your quality of life. Choosing to distance yourself from toxic behaviors is not an act of isolation, but a meaningful step toward preserving your own happiness. By focusing on connections that are respectful, supportive, and uplifting, you create a living environment that nourishes rather than drains you. Remember, your home is your refuge, a space where you have the right to feel secure, valued, and at peace. In prioritizing positive relationships and letting go of those that disrupt your tranquility, you take control of your surroundings and invest in a life that brings fulfillment and joy. It is through these choices that you can embrace the years ahead with a sense of comfort, dignity, and genuine connection in the place you call home. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching. And here's to living life on your own terms.